Meow is said to be a congenital parallel processor. That means there are other personalities that are also in his body. One of these is little sister Meow, who was found by Jaden, supposedly by accident. She mostly hides on the sidelines, although she secretly suggests the Christmas party at the end. Is there any significance to this event? What is her story? The Christmas party creates a sharp contrast between the event of the physical and virtual worlds. The Gauntlet Knights are killing each other in reality, while partying together in cyberspace. The topic of being completely virtual comes up, and it seems popular. This party does make it look appealing. I believe this was precisely Little Sister Meow's intention. She wants everybody to live in virtual reality all the time. When she first shows up, she and Jaden agree that real life is richer and better than anything electronically mediated. Yet in the final chapter, she tells Jaden she loves him, for the first time, only after he agrees to live in a fully virtual world. So, her attitude changes throughout the story. I'd say this is due to her date with Jaden. Toward the end of it, she experiences a lot of anxiety about differences between sexes. This kind of problem is not supposed to exist in a virtual world. I believe this informs her entire attitude from then on. The factory world is connected with the idea of everything being fully virtual. This is because of the second vision of the factory world that's shown at the end of chapter 18, God's Scenario. That vision involves a voice that tries to emphasize the factory world's virtues. Whether the factory world is a good thing or a bad thing is a matter of perspective. Little Sister Meow thinks it's ultimately a good outcome. Right before the second vision, Meow talks about settling fights in VR instead of in lethal reality. Interestingly, Rethabiel brings up the idea of existing completely in VR. Meow only talks about fighting in VR, but Rethabiel acts like he said people should completely live their lives in it. She's making this idea sound more palatable by conflating it with a less extreme version of itself. If Meow did want everything to be virtual, it could interfere with his programming. After all, the murder program works because the factory world seems horrific, so Meow feels the urge to avoid it. But if he doesn't see it as a horrific thing, then he doesn't need to avoid it, and he won't feel compelled to murder. To disrupt Meow's program this way, you have to understand how it works. That's a huge amount of insight. I would guess that in this case, Rethabiel is saying something suggested to her by Little Sister Meow. Maybe she and Rethabiel bonded during and after the date with Jaden, when Rethabiel was one of the people offering their assistance. The other major appearance of Little Sister Meow is when Meow asks for advice about being the Grand Master of the Order of the Public Bath. Her advice is interesting. He should be happy to be a powerful piece and wait to be used by a wonderful player. I think that in this case, she is actually using reverse psychology. Now I want to caution that this is a dangerous way to reason. If you're willing to say that a character uses reverse psychology, you can take any statement they say and treat it as having its normal meaning or its opposite meaning. This way, you can reach almost any conclusion you want, so your analysis can be led completely astray by your biases. So feel free to take this with a grain of salt. But I think she's using reverse psychology here. She later tells Jaden that Meow won't listen to her ideas. That's why Jaden has to pretend the party is his idea. This shows that she's thinking about how Meow will react to her and strategizing accordingly. And it's Meow who asks her for advice about his order. She's not the one who brings this up. Then she has a big pause, where I think she's carefully considering her response. She decides to tell him to just be a piece. When some powerful person uses you as a murder tool, just go with it. But because it's his little sister saying that, Meow won't go with it. Instead, he will resist being a murder tool. That's what Little Sister Meow thinks. Then he won't interfere with this promised future, and it will arrive, with certainty. Then everyone will be fully virtual. This is what Little Sister Meow actually wants. Her plan seems to go pretty well, although there are lots of other entities with their own opinions, trying to stop the factory world, or make it happen, or otherwise manipulate Meow. There are so many factors to consider. Who gets the last laugh? I'll keep considering more angles in other videos.